Hey guys, in this video we're going to do another build, and this one here, this is the Fireteam chassis, and it's got all of the running gear of the Fireteam in it because this is what it started out as, and we put the Fireteam tires back on it. At the same time, it has some EXP upgrades in it, so it's got the EXP shock towers, it has the EXP chassis braces, the chassis, and it also has the Kraton EXP front bumper on it, which makes it a pretty tough platform. And this one has the last of the T-Bone Racing wheelie bars on it that we got while T-Bone was still in business. You can't get them anymore, guys, but this is the last one that we have here. And I really like Arrma for one thing, and I like them for a few things, but one thing I really like is the ability to mix parts. And what that comes down to is basically the Fireteam has the Mojave chassis on it. You have the Typhon, the Italian, you have the Kratons, and they all have basically interchangeable parts for a lot of it. So you can create whatever you want. You can take a Kraton chassis and you can put Typhon arms on it. You can switch things around any way you see fit. And that makes these fun to wrench on because basically universal parts are awesome. In this video, we're going to do part of the build on this one. So we went ahead and stripped off the fracture body, and that was the Infraction 6S body that we mounted on this to make it compete with the Mojave. It was pretty cool and everything, but I want to try something different. And if you guys have been paying attention to the channel, you watched us do the Kraton XL build, and that's a stretching of that vehicle. This here is already stretched because it has the Mojave chassis on it, but we're going to build a Kraton XL out of this one, and I like the fact that it has the disc brakes in the back. That should be pretty cool as well. So what we're going to do is today, we're going to take, and this is just the BLX version 4 body, and we're going to get this mounted on here. So the idea here, we're not going to use this body overall. We may bash with it, but I have a new one that I want to put on it, and we have a couple of options here to play with, but we want to get this mounted so that the body posts are in the factory position for the body, so you can interchange whatever you want. You can swap them right out. The difference being, if you take a look here, from this shock tower to the back of the body, and we're going to just roughly guess where this sits. It should sit right about there. This is the distance that it stretched it from the Kraton. So we're going to have to build some blocks there to make that work. These will be nice and clean, they'll be good and sturdy, and it'll look really efficient once we get them built. And we're going to use this. Now this is plastic, and it's basically black cutting board plastic. So anything pliable like a cutting board, that kind of plastic will work for this. You don't want rigid plastic, you want the stuff that's a little bit pliable. And I don't know what they call this stuff. We use it for forms at work, but it's really pliable. So like I say, any kind of fairly pliable plastic will work as long as it's big enough. That's the real key. In this video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to shave these blocks down, and we're going to get them mounted to show you how that it is done. And we'll get this all put together. Now there's 1,000 ways to do this. I'm aware of that. And if you can get yours on and you're happy with it, awesome. This is how we do it. All right, so we've got things down on the bench, and it should go pretty smoothly. We've done this before. So what it is we're going to take the vise here and we're going to true up our pieces. Our pieces aren't exact, and we want them to be the same, and they need to be square on the end. So we're going to square those up, trim them to fit properly, and then we're going to mark them so that we'll be able to get all of the pilot holes in the right place. So let's go ahead and see where we're going to need that stuff, get it in the vise, and we will trim stuff off, and then we'll continue on from there. All right, so here's the blocks, and we want to get these lined up here. And in order to keep them in line, we're going to tape this together here. And we'll just hold them in place so that we can get the same basic distance between the two. So let's get them lined up good, just like that. And we'll get them fixed into the vise here. And I want to flush this out so we can just make them the same length, nice and square. This is the end that's going to mount down, so I want to make sure it's good and flat across here. So we'll take a little time, and we'll get this nice and flat. There we go. Just like that, and we'll clean it up some. Just like so. Nice and flat. Okay, so let's tape the ends because we're going to want to mark this, and that'll show us right where we want to drill to mount these. So the tape makes it a lot easier to see, and we're going to pick a central location. And we want to get the bottom hole in first So we'll mark both of them the same, and we're going to drill these out. We're going to do them one at a time here and get them set in there. And now when we pick our drill bit, we want to be a little bit smaller than the screw, and that'll allow us to have some threads in there. So we want to pick one that's down a little bit, not too small, but small enough we can use the threads in there. So we'll tap it pretty deeply here, and then we're going to countersink this just a little bit so we can get the screw started. And we'll run the screw down, and that'll create the threads in there, and that'll make it easier the next time we go to install it. Let's do the other one. And the same thing applies here. There we go. And we'll countersink that. We'll create our threads. Good. So we want to get these attached to the shock tower and make sure we hit the bottom hole. And we'll get them lined up. There we go, snug them down. And since they're already in there, let's go ahead and drill them out. That's the same bit, and we'll run those screws out and take them off so we can countersink them. There we go, looks pretty good. A little bit offset, I think we can fix that when we drill them out here. There we go. Favor one side just to get them in the middle, and that'll give us our spacing that we need to mount them. A little countersink, and remember which ones were on the bottom. We'll create our threads, just like that. Beautiful. All right, let's get them fixed on. Now, remembering which one was the bottom hole, we'll go ahead and affix it to this one. There we go, and we'll get that top one started, and keep the bottom one loose until you get the top one started so that you can make your alignment work. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And I gotta mention this, guys, you always wanna go slowly with the power tools. Even in something like this, if you run it in fast, it'll heat up the plastic and then the screws just won't hold, so always go slowly. There we go. All right, so the brackets are installed now, and they look pretty good on here. They're nice and sanitary, and they're pretty strong too. Putting the longer bolts in there makes a pretty good difference on that, so it gives it a little more to bite into and it holds strong longer. Remember, the reason we did it the way we did was we used a drill bit that was way smaller, not super small, but way smaller than the screw to give it something to bite into, and they can be really difficult to get started. That's why we tapered the entrance so you could get the screws started. Once you run them, there's threads in there and you can work them in. Always work these in nice and slowly. You don't want to heat that plastic up and melt it because then it won't hold very well. You want to go in nice and slow. The tool we use, even though this is sped up a lot of the time, it's a screwdriver and it doesn't spin very fast. You speed it up, it looks like we're really ramming them in, but we're not. Now, we already installed the front body posts, and these are just the Kraton body posts, and we put some on that'll get it nice and low, so that should work out fine. The trick now is to get the body installed, get some tape on the top here, and mark where the factory holes should go, and we're going to drill directly down into these to put the body posts into. It works pretty slick, at least it did the last time we tried it. Let's get on with it. Okay, so let's tape the top here, and we want a good tape job. We'll shrink it down so that it matches the exact dimensions here so we can get our marks in the middle, so make sure it matches the sides. We'll get that body back on, make sure we pin the front so it stays right where it's going to be, just like that. And let's have a look at it here. We want to get these right in the middle so we can pinch them a little bit. They're flexible. There we go, those are our holes. So we're going to favor towards the middle of the plastic so that we don't drill towards the edge. We want to make sure and try to get these pretty well centered. So the pilot holes are in there. And this is the right size bit for the body posts. So we'll get that in the drill. And be really careful here, guys. These drills grab this plastic and it'll pull it right through. So be real gentle, especially on the other side. There we go. So on this side, there's a servo down there, so you don't want to go through and let it pull through at all. Make sure that you control it. We'll get our tape off, just like that, and they fit. Cool. All right, so I've got some shorter ones here, so we're going to put those in so they don't hang through on the bottom so much. We'll get those down. And let's put the cradles on there too. Just like that. That'll protect the body. And let's get the body on there and see how it fits. And it fits right on, just right in the middle. Okay, so now we need to fix these in, and they'll move around if you don't do this. So we're going to drill through the side here, and it'll go right through the body post, and we'll put a screw in that. Make sure to taper it first so that it's easy to start, and run the screw in, just like that. We'll do the same thing for the other side, but see how that looks? There we go, we'll do the other side now. And we'll get the taper done. And we'll put the other screw in. Just like that. All right, so there you go. Those are the mounts we use for this body conversion, and they work really well. This is the second time we've done it, and they go on so smoothly. It's just really simple to do. Just make sure that when you do it, you get your ends cut straight. And have a look at this. It really looks good set this way. I like these tires off the Fireteam. In my opinion, these are one of the best contributions that car made to the line. And I like them on all kinds of stuff, so that works out really good. There's one other thing here. There we go. Right here is the body brace, and that right there doesn't fit on the Mojave chassis, and that's because the chassis is longer, it sets it back, and that big basket that's up there has a tendency to hit the body. So what we did was we trimmed it down and got it to the main support, and we put a foam block on top. Now this is a block that we got from one of our RCs that had a battery spacer in it. That's what this block was. It's a nice dense foam block, but it's the soft kind. It's not the kind that's going to fracture and come apart. And it sits about that far below the body, which is perfect. It'll allow the body to flex a little bit, but then this will come in and do the job. Really straightforward replacement. Didn't think we needed to put that in the video because it is just pin it in, pin it out, and put the block on the top. At the same time, we got the Kraton, I believe this is a version 4 wing on the back of it. That went right on. And everything looks really cool. I like the whole platform of this and everything. I just wasn't a fan. And this is a personal choice, guys. Don't take this personally. If you like the Fireteam, guys, that's awesome. It is a cool car, but it's just not for me. I like this type of vehicle better, and instead of selling this one and buying something else, you know, get rid of the Fireteam and buy something else, I have a hard time getting rid of my cars. I am a bit of a collector here, so I want to hang on to them. However, that's what's cool about Arrma. You can go ahead and switch them around to whatever you want them to be. This has very few changes overall, but at the same time, with just a little bit of effort, you can turn it in to whatever you want it to be. Isn't that cool? So this is the Fireteam conversion. Now it's a Kraton XL EXB, and it's got most of the EXB components in it. Not all, but as they break, I'll repair them. So if you haven't already, don't forget to bash that like button and help our content spread. You know, these shorter videos, something simple like that, they can be very helpful, because one of the daunting things for new people is you hold a body in place and you don't know how to get it to attach. And that can put a full stop to something they were dreaming of doing. Simple fixes like this are easy to do, and if you have a little imagination, you can pull it off. So hey guys, if you have anything you want to add to this video, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below and help others along the way. Hey guys, for AJGM Studios, I'm AJ saying, keep wrenching, guys.